This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. Netanyahu bears responsibility for this Israel-Gaza war. That's the headline of an editorial in the Israeli newspaper Haaretz. The paper's editors wrote, quote, "The disaster that befell Israel on the holiday of Simchat Torah is the clear responsibility of one person, Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister, who's prided himself on his vast political experience and irreplaceable wisdom in security matters, completely failed to identify the dangers he was consciously leading Israel into when establishing a government of annexation and dispossession, when appointing Bezalel Smotrich and Itamar Ben-Gvir to key positions, while embracing a foreign policy that openly ignored the existence and rights of Palestinians," the Haaretz editorial said. We go now to Tel Aviv, where we're joined by Gideon Levy, an award-winning Israeli journalist and author, columnist for the newspaper Haaretz, member of its editorial board. His most recent piece is headlined, "Israel Can't Imprison 2 Million Gazans Without Paying a Cruel Price." Gideon Levy, if you can talk about how Israelis are responding right now, what you feel it's important for people outside Israel, especially here in the United States, to understand and to do at this point as 300,000 reservists move along the Gaza border.
Yeah, Israel is basically shocked, at least in the first 1 or 2 days. You could feel it everywhere. Nobody expected this unprecedented situation. It broke many perceptions, both about Hamas, about the Palestinians, about their capabilities, and about ourselves and our capabilities. But this is now put aside. People are still digesting what happened. The more time passes, the more horrible scenes are exposed. Day after day. I've been to the south the day before yesterday, and I can tell you I've been so many times in the south in times of war. What I saw there was nothing like it happened in the past. But I must say that side by side with what I mentioned here, there is also a big sense of taking revenge, a big desire to take revenge, and hatred toward the Palestinians is growing up to very, very dangerous levels. Same anger is also directed at the government, less than this at the army. But I think that the government, once this war will be over, hopefully soon, this government is going to pay a hell of a price, and it must go home. I don't see this situation in which Netanyahu continues and all the ministers around him, who are all of them no-ones, fascists, and part of them would have even been defined in Europe as neo-Nazis. Those people who called for all kinds of terrible things to do and did nothing to make Israel prepared for any danger and continue not to doing nothing. That's so astonishing that we are now the 5th day after the war, and you don't see the government. They are still preoccupied with their own political careers, with all kinds of political manipulations. Nobody takes care of the situation. The army is preparing itself for a ground operation, but except of the army, I was in so many homes which were bombed, so many people who lost their beloved one. Nobody came to them. Nobody offers them any assistance. Israel is really falling apart from this point of view. And the man who governed Israel for the last 15 years is the one and the only one to be blamed before anyone else. This goes without saying. And I guess at 6 after the war, as we say, million Israelis will go to the streets and they will have only one demand. At least Netanyahu go home. If not, Netanyahu go to court and be sentenced for this irresponsible policy that you have been committing.
Levy, I wanted to ask you according to press reports, as many as 1,500 Palestinian fighters of Hamas were killed inside of Israel. So the enormous number of militants who were able to get into Israel. Could you talk about the decision of the government to relocate large portions of Israel's army from the Gaza border to protect far-right settlers on the West Bank?
Sure, that's one of the big failures on Saturday. Not the only one, because the first failure is obviously the surprise, the strategic surprise. We are so proud about the most sophisticated intelligence in the world, with all kind of those elite units, with all the devices. They know everything, they understand everything. And then an operation which was prepared for 1 year by hundreds of militants, they didn't hear about it. So that's the first failure. The second failure is obviously that the southern front with Gaza was totally abandoned, because we were busy with all the festivals of Sukkot, of those crazy settlers, guarding them, but not only guarding them, collaborating with them with their pogroms among Palestinians. We have clear evidence that the army saw the pogroms and did nothing. And when an army is busy for years now, not only recently, only with running and chasing after Palestinian children who throw a stone, and after all kind of suspected Palestinians, when an army is over-occupied in standing in illegal checkpoints and penetrating to Palestinian homes in the middle of the night to arrest somebody without any legal basis, then this is the result. You get, instead of a professional, motivated, experienced army, you get a bunch of no-ones who don't know what to do in such a situation, because after the first shock, it took still hours and hours until the army showed up. And that's unbelievable.
And this issue of Netanyahu preparing for an invasion of Gaza, you talk about the immense undertaking that this involves, having to go literally house by house or building by building in Gaza to find any of the hostages being held. The enormity of this project.
First of all, to go from building to building is impossible already, because there were many buildings still down, and I'm not sure that how many buildings were left, for example, in the neighborhood of Rimal. To find the hostages alive, really, it's nice for all kind of Hollywood films. I don't see it happening, for sure not with this army, with its capabilities, as we were witnessing it only on Saturday. The invasion into Gaza has some other goals, namely to put an end to the rule of Hamas. And this is another impossible mission, because you can kill the current top people of Hamas. You cannot kill the ideology of Hamas, and they will always be replaced. Ground operation now is supported almost by all Israelis, because Israelis understand that we have to do something after this embarrassment, after this catastrophe. But in the same time, I must tell you, I can assure you that if Israel will go now for a ground operation, it will take a few weeks or maybe a few months. It will take so much blood of both Palestinians and Israelis, mainly Palestinians, obviously. And by the end of this operation, you will invite me again to Democracy Now!, and you will see that we are standing exactly in the place that we stood 1 week ago. Because as long as Israel continues to believe that Gaza, the problem of Gaza, will be solved by the sword, solved by brutal force, by emotions of revenge, justified emotions, then we will get exactly to the same place. This vicious circle will not be solved by power, not be solved by tanks, and will it be solved by troops, only by a political agreement, and above all, and first of all, lifting this criminal siege, for God's sake, after 17 years. This siege was about to to guarantee the security of Israel. So what happened out of the siege, except of the suffer of unbelievable, inhuman suffer of 2 million people? What did it contribute to the security of Israel, this siege? You see the outcome.
We just have less than a minute, Gidon. I wanted to ask you the difference of the cry, the call of the families of the hostages, of older people, of young people, of children, the family members, one after another, talking about being, for example, a peace activist and saying, please use restraint. And the contrast between that and President Biden, as he addressed the nation yesterday, deciding consciously and in the readout of his conversation with Netanyahu a few minutes before he spoke, saying they did not call for restraint. Your response, how important is the President of the United States' position here? We have less than a minute.
In less than a minute, I can tell you, Amy, that last night when I was watching President Biden, I really envied you, Americans, that you have such a leader. I never thought so before last night. But last night, Biden was a real leader, someone that you can trust because he was extremely sincere and someone that you can rely on. If Netanyahu would have taken the same speech, he wouldn't be Netanyahu. Netanyahu is busy with politics, and here comes this Biden and tells Israel what Israel wanted to hear. I would love him also to say some things about the Palestinian suffering, the Palestinian agony. He ignored it totally, and this is very regretful. But by the end of the day, this is what Israel needs now, some kind of leadership, and it totally lacks it. Nobody is around really to understand that we have to go for a new way. Nobody is there.
All praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. Double honors to the elders, the bishops of the Great Millstone. Peace, salutation to the hopeful elect of Israel. Shalom. Just I want to thank the Most High, Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, for giving me inspiration to this lesson. This lesson hopefully is edifying and to the point. Just I was watching a video earlier today, and it was about this journalist here, Gordon Levy. Basically, he spoke a lot in regards to the current state of affairs in with the Palestinian-Israeli conflict there. But let's go to the scriptures because we see what's going on there. Book of Micah, chapter 2, starting at verse 1. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity. See all these generals and all these top aides in all these countries. They're the ones who's planning all these things. They're planning the retaliation. They're planning the incidents. They're planning everything because they're the ones who are in power, right? So woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. I was thinking about these things, planning them. When the morning is light, they practice it. They put it into laws, emergency acts, legislations. Why? Because it is in the power of their hand. They're the ones with the power. Edomites are ruling the world, right? See, verse 2. And they covet fields. Isn't this what is happening right now? They covet fields and do what? Take them by violence. Yes. They want those people out. And houses and take them away. There's a lot of people right now are without a home. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. That is a very profound verse, right? And they covet fields. Look at the history. Go into the history. And take them by violence, and houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. But this is what the Lord, the sovereign Lord, is saying. Therefore, thus say the Lord, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks. Yes, they speak very proud, okay? Because they have the power to bless them with the sword. Ye shall go haughtily. Let's go into that word haughtily for a second here.
Haughtily.
arrogantly, superior and disdainful, proud, vain, arrogant, conceited, snobbish, stuck up. Yes, that's what you just described there. Okay, let's continue. It says, yeah, sorry. Okay, let's finish up. For this time is evil. Exactly what it is. Nothing but evil, right? In the day shall one take up a parable against you, and lament with a doleful lamentation, and say, we be utterly spoiled. He have changed the portion of my people. How have he removed it from me? Turning away, he have divided our fields. Yes, the land has been parted, divided. We've been scattered from these lands. The so-called Negro, so-called Latino, so-called Native American. We've been scattered from our land. Therefore thou shalt have none that shall cast a cord by lot in the congregation of the Lord. Let's read that now into the in the NLT, New Living Translation. It is the judgment against wealthy oppressors. It says, what sorrows await you who lie awake at night, thinking of evil plans. This is what they all do right here, okay? Ye rise at the dawn and hurry to carry them out, simply because you have the power to do so. Ain't that the truth? When you want a piece of land, you find a way to seize it. Repeat that again. When you want a piece of land, you find a way to seize it. When you want someone's house, you take it by fraud and violence. That's the MO of Esau, Edom. You cheat a man of his property and stealing his family inheritance. I'll keep this lesson to the point, but there's so much examples I can go into that. But that is the game plan of Esau, Edom. They covet lands by violence. Take them away and oppress people. But this is what the Lord is saying. But this is what the Lord says. I will reward you evil with evil. See? You sow wickedness, you're going to reap wickedness. You won't be able to pull your neck out of the noose. Sorry, Salaki. You won't be able to pull your neck out of the noose. You will no longer walk again proudly, for it will be a terrible time. See? Haughtily, proud, vain, arrogant, conceited, snobbish, arrogantly superior and disdainful, proud. Let's see what the sovereign Lord is telling you. Right, where we go. Verse 4. In that day your enemies will make fun of you by singing the song of despair about you. We are finished, completely ruined. YAHAWAH has confiscated our land, taken it from us. See, he has given our fields to those who betrayed us. Yep, the Lord put us into these captivities. Our land was taken away from us, and we were scattered amongst all the nations. Now nobody regards us as anyone. It's all the Lord's doing, but the Lord is going to reverse all of these things. The Lord is going to reverse all these things and give the praise and the fame to the inhabitants, the Israelites, so-called Negro, so-called Latino, so-called Native American. Yes, the Lord knows our struggle. The Lord knows our struggle, but He will reverse it all, and it will be treaded upon their oppressor's neck. Right? This is what the Lord is doing. This is what the Lord is telling us right now. So you see, rejoice right now, because right now you see these nations, they're fighting over this land, but it's not even their land. It is the land of the Israelites. Right? We were cast away. We were driven out the land. Remember in Jerusalem, by the rivers of Babylon, where we sat down? Yes. They put us they chased us out. We were put on slave ships all across the world. Yes, that was one of our captivities, the Babylonian captivity. But we had various throughout the world, various captivities, Salaki. Right? So now you say to yourself, who is controlling that land right now? Yes, that is Amalek. Amalek is the first of the nations but there will be, at their point, it will be reversed in the end. Let's go to the book of Numbers 24:22. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nation, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. That's what the sovereign Lord is telling us, right? It's a parable. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations. See, everyone is rallying on this nation right now. Everyone is rallying on this nation right now. The roles are being reversed. It will be reversed in the end. It says, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. Salaki. Wow. See, that's the only nation, the Edomites, that's the only nation that the Lord is going to utterly destroy from the face of this earth after 1,000 years of hard slavery. Yes, it will be repaid. Let's go to the book of Obadiah. Let's start off with the 8th, Obadiah 1 verse 8. 1 second. Bear with me for 1 second here. This book of Obadiah is just one chapter. Let's start off at verse 8. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom? The Lord is saying this. Edomites are the only nation that will be utterly destroyed after 1,000 years of slavery. And understanding out of the mount of Esau. And the mighty men, O Teman today is the Germans, shall be dismayed to the end, that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. Yes, because they love blood, but it will be paid back to them. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee. See, this is all about the controversy of Zion, right? And thou shalt be cut off forever. In the day thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners enter his gates. See, all these other nations right now occupying those lands, calling it their land, but it's not. And cast lots upon Jerusalem. Remember, Jerusalem was a people before it was a place. Okay, I'm not talking about the Balfour Declaration. Even thou was as one of them. But thou should not have looked on the day of thy brothers, in the day that he became a stranger. Yes, the Israelites. Remember, Jacob and Esau were brothers. Neither shouldst thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. You remember when they say, raise it, Psalms 137, even to the foundation thereof. Neither shouldst thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. That's the day of Jerusalem, right? They were chanting, raise it. Yes, it will be paid back. Let's drop down now to verse 16. No, verse 15. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen, and thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee, and thy reward shall be returned on thine own head. See? Payback. You see? Payback. For ye has drunk upon my holy mountain, Jerusalem. So shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they have not been. The Lord is going to cut them all off. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and they shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possession. That is in the kingdom. When we return, when the Lord bring us back, Matthew 24, verse 29, 30, and 31, right? And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame. All kingdoms, northern and southern kingdom, all 12 tribes, and the house of Esau a stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and they shall be no more, should not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord have spoken it. Family, I do have to apologize at times. I get really excited, and sometimes my brain is a mile ahead of my reading. I do apologize for that, but you got the point. This is what is happening right now. So now let's go to you see this video here of this guy I was showing you. This an Israeli reporter in Tel Aviv, and he's He's speaking. That's true journalism. He's not being biased. He's calling a spade a spade. Let's go to this little video here. It pops up because a lot of people are against this movement right now. What has happened? Bear with me 1 second. Okay.
They should continue to fight and not give up the struggle against the state of Israel, because by the end, Palestine will be free, because this is truth, will succeed by the end. What's your message to the people of Palestine?
They should know we feel very shame what's going on there, especially they're doing everything in our name, in the name of Jews, in the name of the Torah, in the name of God. It's so shameful. We are with you. You have to know. The Zionists are strong, we are weak, but God is on our side. At the end of the day, the Palestinian flag will be on all Palestine, from the river to the sea.
This man is he's speaking out against what it says here.
So what brings you here today to support Palestinian rights? We as Jews are embarrassed what's happening there in the state of Israel, in the Jewish name. And what's your message to the people of Palestine? They shouldn't give up the struggle. They should continue to fight and not give up the struggle against the state of Israel, because by the end, Palestine will be free, because this is truth, will succeed by the end. What's your message to the people of Palestine?
They should know we feel very shame what's going on there, especially.
I'll pause it right there. Habakkuk 2 verse 16. Thou art filled with shame for glory. See what he says? We feel very shame. For thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. Yes, all your sins will be revealed. It's a shameful spewing that they're doing right now. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. Let's go into that word shameful spewing, the meaning here. What does it mean? Shameful spewing. Shameful spewing. That is vomiting, namely that one of the king of Babylon, compelled to disgorge the spoil that he have swallowed, right? All that land that you guys are coveting, saying it's your land, will be returned to the rightful owner. The Israelites, that is the rightful owner. The so-called Negro, so-called Latino, so-called Native American. Yes, you are the Hebrew Israelites of the Bible. It is expressed also that the economic state of Babylon and its calamity, right? That's in Jeremiah. But you see, that's what he just said. They're shameful, right? Because of what is happening. Now let's go into that, because all this whole controversy about the land. Let's go into this for one quick second here. What is happening right now? Let's go to this article really quick. This article is from July 21st, 2023. Black Hebrew Black Hebrews in Israel face threat of deportation. They love to throw that word black, huh? They love to throw that word black. Black simply means void of light. It's a social construct in Virginia in 1681. These guys created that. There's no such thing as the color black for a person. Okay, look at this. Look at this thing right here. This is black. Look at her complexion. There's no such thing as black. Okay. In terms of colors of people, the Lord created nations. Hebrews in Israel face threat of deportation. Members of the African, once again, members of the African, they love naming people after these countries. Member of the African Hebrew Israelite of Jerusalem rally outside of the district court in Beersheba, Israel, ahead of a hearing on the deportation orders for dozens from their community, July 19, 2023. Demona, Israel, for 2 years, Tovi, Israel, and dozens of other residents of the village of peace have lived in fear. Demonia, a city on the edge of the nation Israel, Negev Desert, has been her home for 24 years. Her 8 children were born here and know no other country. Where would these people be deported to, right? Man. Now she and 44 other undocumented members of the African Hebrew Israelites, good night, of Jerusalem face deportation. Receiving the order to leave 2 years ago with a moment of disbelief for Israel. 53. I feel like the government has been merciless to me and my children, she says. Here we go with that word now. The black Hebrews, as a spiritual community members, are commonly known first made their way into Israel from the United States in the 1960s. While members do not consider themselves Jewish, they claim an ancestral connection to Israel. See, first of all, these so-called Hebrews that left America, if that's where they came from, and went to Israel, they're also going off because we were scattered from our land. We are still under the curses. The only time we will be going back home is when the Lord delivered, when YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI deliver us back to our home. Okay, that's the only time. That is the only time, because right now they're going off, and that's why this is all these things are still under curses. This is the whole controversy of Zion as well. So where was I? Anyhow, I'll just pause. I'll just leave it right there. So that's one article. I just want to read another article here quickly. Gaza residents are told to move south as Israel prepares for expected ground assault. So they're all being displaced from wherever they're. What? $2.3 million people.
The IDF calls for the evacuation of all civilians from Gaza City, from their homes, southwards, for their own safety and protection. You will be able to return to Gaza City only when another announcement permitting it is made.
Pause it there. Let's go now to the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel, let's go to the point. Ezekiel 36, verse 2. Thus said the Lord power, because the enemy have set against you, aha, even to the ancient high places are ours in possession. See, so this is what the Lord is saying. Because the enemy have said against you, aha, even the ancient high places are ours in possession. It's not their land. This is what the scriptures are telling us. Let's go to verse 5. It says, therefore, thus said the Lord power, surely in the fire of my jealousy I have spoken against the residue of the heathen. Okay, all these nations, and against all Idumea. Idumea is the Greek word of saying Edom, which have appointed my land in their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. Yes, and we are the prey, and we were casted out of this place, right? It says, verse 6, prophesy therefore concerning the Lord of the land of Israel, and say unto the mountains, and to the hills, to the rivers, and to the valleys, thus said the Lord power, behold, I have spoken in my jealousy and in my fury, because ye have borne the shame of the heathen. And so this is what the Lord is telling us right now, right? So all these, the land of Israel, Jerusalem, right, has been parted, and there's many blockades and roadblocks and whatnot in this land. It's always part of all the barricaded fences. See, because Edomites are very proud, because the scripture said the pride of thine heart have deceived thee. Right? Let's go see a lot of this stuff that's happening right now, showing right here on these alternatives media outlets. Some of them are not showing both sides, and they're not doing responsible media journalism, right? So let's go to there's an article here from the RT News. Putin says, American media is bad. American media is bad, Putin says. The Russian president insisted that U.S. news outlets are often distort reality. Salaki. Russian President Vladimir Putin has encouraged reporters to read the American media less. The remark came during a press conference in the Kazakh capital of Bishkek in response to a question about reports that the Russian Kan air base in Kazakhstan have been abandoned due to the conflict in Ukraine. American media outlets are saying that all the equipment in Ukraine and that the Kant base is deserted. You see, this is what he's basically saying. I'm not even going to all that stuff, but this is what he's saying about the West. They like to control the narrative and tell the stories, whether this is Putin's words, not mine. He says the media is bad in America, right? But we know that, he who controls the story controls the narrative, right? And you ask yourself, who owns the media outlets, right? The same people who own the fact-checking companies and so forth. But we know that that land is a big controversy of Zion because the land has been parted and has been trodden down. Let's go to one scripture here and just finish this off here. This is a past and future prophecy. Luke 21 verse 24. Right to the point. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword. Who is that? And shall be led away captive into all nations. Yes, the so-called Negro, so-called Latino, so-called Native American, Northern and Southern Kingdom, all 12 tribes. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles. Okay, and this is what is happening right now. Until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Yes, I'm going to close it off there. But I want to give double honors to the elders, the bishop, the great millstone, one who taught me this truth according to the Bible. I hope you've been edified. Until the next time I say, Shalom Israel.